here this night. The liberation of the country has begun. You are part of that liberation. It takes ideas, it takes activists, it takes real people who believe fundamentally in human rights and human liberty to build freedom. That's what we're here to do. And we're supporting Gary Johnson for that reason. Now, let me tell you something. I've been active for a long time, but you know what I've not been active in? Politics. Ever. I've done entrepreneurship. I've done education. Politics seems silly to me. But maybe you've noticed something I've noticed, that these are very unusual times. And when times change, we have to change. I've changed. I believe in this campaign. I believe in what Gary is doing. We are building a future in this country. We will not let it be taken by right and left authoritarians. It will not be stolen from us. It is our birthright. It is our human right. We're not to let it go. History called Gary Johnson to be the voice of this movement, of this revolution, of this idea. He's a great man, a humble man, and you know what? He had a lot of other things he could be doing. He has a kind of an awesome life, have you noticed? I mean, I'm not sure I would do, I mean, you know, you're a mountain climber, you got a beautiful wife, you know, a wonderful daughter, everything's, you know, a great 2 terms as governor, you're an awesome public figure. What the heck? Why do you don't need this crap? Why are you gonna do this? You know why he did it? Because he loves this country. And he sees that we are in crisis, and every crisis is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to make things right for everyone. Not the right, not the left, not the special interests, not the corporations, not the weirdo activists and the redistributionists and the intellectuals and the media and all the rest of it, but for the common good, for every person in this country who wants their human rights recognized, wants their property, wants their freedom, and wants America to once again be a peaceful and prosperous place for us to live. Gary Johnson was called, he answered that call. You too are called. You are answering that call by being here tonight, and you'll be here Tuesday. And let me tell you an interesting and chilling story that happened to me about a year ago. I was talking to a political consultant, and I said to this political consultant, I said, why is it that candidates so rarely try to appeal to the libertarian idea? Why is it they don't try to court our vote? And she said to me, everyone knows that libertarians don't vote, so therefore they don't matter. And you know what? I changed. And you're changing. That changes this election, right, my friends? It changes now. Our voices matter. It changes this year. And thanks to this campaign, and thanks to Gary, many people are hearing this strange word, libertarian, for the first time. It's a long word. It's an unfamiliar word. Yeah, right? So here's something you may not know. Here's brief education time, all right? 1954 came along. There was a bunch of people that were upset about the growth of the power of the state, Hiroshima, mass murder, censorship, all the horrible things in the world. They said, we gotta do something. What do we call ourselves? Well, we used to be called liberals. Oh, that word is taken by people who believe the opposite of us. What are we gonna do? So they came up with the term libertarian. They said, well, it'll do for now. I kind of regret it, I must tell you. In a way, we should have kept the word liberal. It's what we believe. We are the liberals. We are the people who did the most awesome things in the history of the world. Nonetheless, libertarianism is a synonym for that. It is a synonym for that. And it is not our friends from the media, you curious onlookers to who are these strange people in this room. It is not a weird doctrine. We have no book of canon law. We have no cult of swearing in. It is not a sectarian political movement. We do not represent a special interest. We represent the common good of all. That is what the Libertarianism is about. Libertarianism is the whole of this country, and guess what, my friends, the whole of humanity. We're against all forms of despotism and all forms of oppression. If you want to know what libertarianism is, that's it in a sentence. Who are we? You've met us before. We were the people who ended feudalism and enabled people to move to the glorious cities in the Middle Ages and build a new life of prosperity and independence. We were the ones who ended the religious wars, and we established freedom of the press and speech. And we inspired the age of the Enlightenment and gave us art and music and universities and universal human rights. It was the libertarians that brought to the world the idea of progress in one generation, no less, so we could leave the state of nature. It was the libertarians that ended slavery in the 19th century and emancipated women from 100,000 years of institutionalized misogyny. That was the libertarians who did that. Our ancestors created and built what we call the middle class. It didn't exist before the libertarians came along, and we fueled the revolutions of the 18th century. It was the libertarians who brought technology to the multitudes. We dramatically reduced infant mortality, we brought food to the world, and we firmed up the right of association. And yes, Mr. Trump, we established the freedom of migration. We will never let that principle go. We will not be held in by any wall, ever. We fought against every form of bigotry. We've celebrated tolerance as a civic ideal. And every single day in this world today, it is the spirit of libertarianism that is reducing poverty, curing disease, and toppling dictators. My friends, libertarianism is the hope of the world. You're on the right side of history, and Gary Johnson is too. As I said, he could have done anything else with his life. He put himself forward. He pushed himself out there. He put himself on the line for you and for me and for an ideal, most importantly, because he believes in something other than the rule of men. He believes in the rule of law and your human rights. He chose to be the carrier of this great tradition in our times. And he's doing it for us every single day on the media. And in that sense, he's bringing back the right path of history. We cannot live in this world where we face a constant battle between two forms of authoritarianism. There must and always will be a third choice. That third choice for human rights, human freedom, of course there are, and there will always be, Tories and Laborites, aristocrats and fake champions of the workers and peasants, the fascists and the socialists, the Nazis and the communists, the brown shirts and the red shirts, the right-wing racists and the left-wing paternalists, the rightist revanchists and the leftist redistributionists. the Republicans and the Democrats, they will never go away. But who and what will represent the aspirations of the masses of people who so long desperately for that fundamental human right, the right to be free? The times call for some brave people to stand up and say, you have a choice. You have a choice today. You have a choice on Tuesday. Choose freedom. You may have noticed freedom, liberty. These are words you haven't heard in this campaign season outside of this party, outside of this candidate. And yet, it's freedom and liberty that builds civilization, that guarantees human rights. It's freedom and liberty that will bring us a future of peace and prosperity. History has chosen Gary Johnson to lead this moment. In our times, in these days, right now, during this critical turning point, don't forget this day in your life. You were here. You have done it. You are living and breathing this moment. Everything turns. This is the hinge of history. You know what? I want Gary Johnson to win, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. We've changed history. This is the hinge. Do you hear the creaking of the door? It's turning! Every single day you live in a world of liberty. You have your smartphones, you download the apps you want. You love who you want, you do what you want, you go where you want. You don't live in their world, the world of Trump and Clinton. What world are they talking about? The 80s and 70s? I don't know. The 1430s? The Black Death? I don't know. It's not our world. You live in a different world. We live in different times. I don't care what happens on Tuesday. There will be no stopping us. This is the turning point. Gary Johnson is our messenger. Hear his message and be inspired by this man. And let us, yes, please, vote on Tuesday. And yet, let us do even more than vote, because it just begins there. It's important, but it just begins there. Let us commit tonight and always our hearts and minds to a great ideal with steely determination, deeply embedded in your soul. The demand that your rights will be recognized, that your freedoms will not be taken away. You don't have an infinite amount of time on this earth. Swear that tonight you will be a free man, a free woman. Live free, never give it up, and never shy from it. Shout it from the mountaintops. You and all of humankind will be freed in your lifetime.